Hey everyone, welcome to another video, and in this video we are going to do a deep dive into Floe. Just for a reminder, Floe is our drag and drop programming environment. It is good for creating machines and robots, interactive devices, creating tool chains for data manipulation, and more. So let's do a quick little recap, and let's go ahead and we will make a little canvas here and recap what Floe is all about. So we are going to create a new canvas of type core, and we'll go over a little bit about that in a bit, but let's go ahead and just get started. Again, the easiest place to get started is going to be just with some GUI elements. So we are just going to be creating a kind of interactive web page here. And let's just go ahead and give these guys some names. So we'll go ahead and we'll connect these two together, and let's save this and let's run it. So we'll go ahead and run this. Let's bring it over here. And you can see now that we have two of our checkboxes here, check 1 and check 2. And you can see that when we press check 1, check 2 is going to follow suit, but check 2 can also do whatever it wants. So again, let's go back here. I'm going to double click. Let's turn on debug so that we can see some stuff coming to the terminal. We are going to go ahead and save. We will refresh our page once that is saved. And let's open the terminal this time. So again, we have created these two elements here. You can see that when we check it, when we check 1, check 2 is going to follow suit. If we only do check 2, we're only going to get the 1. So again, when we've created everything here, it is Python under the hood, so we can type in any kind of Python that we want. And we have a little terminal here, so let's go ahead and check what we have in our locals here. So you can see that we have the two elements that we have created here, check 1 and check 2. Let's go ahead and look into one of those, and you can see that this is a checkbox object. So let's dive a little bit deeper into here and kind of like start peeling back what's under the hood. So we can do view code here, and this code is going to be basically the compiled version of what we have over on our canvas on the left. So you can see here that basically we are creating two GUI checkbox objects, and we are filling them in with a bunch of setup information. And then you can see here also that we have now linked the two of these, and this is how we are passing the callback from one to the other. So let's go ahead and look a little bit into the code that actually makes these go. So I double clicked on this parameter, and I'm going to click view code. And in here, let's go ahead and make this a little bit bigger so that we can see. And you can see here that these objects are pretty simple. So we have a call method, and this dunder call method is going to be what's passed in when we set up these hots here. So basically, we are basically handing one checkbox a callback of itself to the other checkbox when we're doing this. And you can see here that we have on and off methods. So let's go back here. Let's make this a little bit smaller. You can go back to check 1. And we can use our on and off methods. So we have it on right now. We can go ahead and turn it off. We can, check box 2, and this all works just how you would imagine everything. So let's start going a little bit deeper here as well. So you can see here that we have a little bit of Python code, and you can kind of understand that like this is, the Python code that is running underneath here, and that's pretty simple. So we can also look into here and kind of see what it actually takes to make one of these. So on the right-hand side, you can see that we have basically a few different places where we can put code or some JSON or anything like that. So let's go ahead and double-click on our parameter again, and you can see here that we have a little spot where we can stick some markdown, and the markdown is going to show up as this text that you see over on the left, and you can modify that to, give it some a description of how to use it, and we are working on filling these in a little bit more, but currently this is what we have for this particular parameter. Next up is going to be a bit of JSON here, and this JSON is going to basically is created to say how this parameter is going to be constructed here when it actually gets built. So you can see here that we have some ports. We have an input, an initial value, and you can see that these are reflected over here. We have an event and self, and a few of these, such as input, event, and self, are some kind of used keywords that are going to be pretty much standardized across all parameters, but we still have them added over here. So let's go ahead and move on. Here we are going to have the same Python code that we showed you over here in this view code section. So that's pretty straightforward. And then moving on down here, we have the pieces that are actually going to make up the GUI itself. So let's go ahead and move this over here, and let's open up our program, our running program again in the browser. And you can see here that we have a JavaScript class, and in here we have our constructor, and this get HTML element is going to be returning a template string that is going to actually set up what we see over here on the right. So this is a pretty simple element, but that kind of gives us an overview of, like, we have this parameter. It has these kind of elements that are used to construct the way that it looks in our Canvas editor, in our Floe editor here. We have different ways where it is going to be actually run as Python in the code, and then we have another area here where we are going to be setting up something that is a GUI element. So let's go ahead and add something that is a little bit more complex. So probably one of the more complex ones that we have at the moment here is going to be our gerbil element here. So this is going to be a CNC machine. And let's go ahead and kind of look at some of this code here. I'm not going to go over this too deeply, but this is going to be run on an ESP32 and is going to actually run another chip that is running gerbil. So this is going to be communicating with another chip over serial, and also has a bunch of GUI elements. So let's go ahead and, without any further ado, we will go ahead and save this. We will go ahead and refresh over here, and now you can see that we have a new element over here that is our gerbil object. You can see here that we have a bunch of different tabs with terminals on the inside, or tables, or any manner of other things that are going to be required in order to manipulate and use this particular device or parameter inside of our program. So let's go ahead and look at this one real quick. So let's go ahead and search for it real quick. I know that I need to change this to be a little bit more user-friendly, but this is what we have at the moment. I have kind of just thrown some of this together. But here again, let's go ahead and double-click. So again, we have our description here. So we have that. We have our constructor, and you can see here that we are expecting, let's go ahead and close this. We have a bunch of different ports here. These ports are also of different types, and I suppose that's something that I glossed over really quick here. Let's go ahead and put a new checkbox in here, and you can see that when we go to drag this around, you can see that this is only going to want to latch on to other ports of the same type. So that's something that makes these really nice, is you can go ahead and without a whole lot of knowledge on what's going on, you can, make sure that you're wiring some things up here that are correct in the way that they need to be. So anyways, let's keep moving on here. So again, this is how we are constructing this particular parameter in our canvas, so that we may wire it up with other objects. We now have the Python code here. And again, this one is quite complex. There's quite a bit going on as we are using this to actually like run a machine and run a machine such as a CNC machine or a robot arm. Again, we have a bunch of JavaScript here. Some of this JavaScript is created to actually, let's go ahead and move this over here again, and we will have these side by side. Some of this code here is going to be for moving these tabs around, or for actually like filling in some of these tables with the objects. And another thing of note is we have this parameter here on the right. Let's go back to the checkbox really quick, and just to keep things easy, you can see here that we have this GUI method here. And this GUI method is going to basically be returning a JSON blob that is going to be passed to the constructor in the JavaScript side. So, the current value of the checkbox is going to be passed in, and everything is going to be constructed off of this bit of JSON that is passed in. You can see here in the gerbil one, let's see if we can came right up to it. You can see here that we are passing a few objects in when we are constructing this GUI also. So on the Python side, we have Iris, and Iris is a Greek messenger goddess, and is kind of a storyline that we're using to kind of construct how we are kind of running this program and what happens underneath. So again, Iris has all these objects here. So in P, you can see that we have a bunch of PIDs, which is the parameter ID that is each of the objects that we have. So again, if we were going to go and go for 54625, you can see here that like we actually have this checkbox method, or I'm sorry, this checkbox object. And again, if we were to go ahead and call this, you can see now that we have checked this checkbox, and this is all pretty standard Python how this works. So this should be pretty natural for anybody who is wanting to interface with any of these objects. So we have Iris on the one side, and on the other side we are going to have Hermes. And you can see here also that we have a very similar structure with our PIDs in an object here over on the this is on the web page side. So Iris and Hermes are going to be talking to each other over I'm going to call it a WebSocket in this particular instance when we're just running this in the browser and we're running it in PyScript. The notion of a WebSocket is a little bit unusual, but keep in mind that anything that we're doing here you can also have running on embedded hardware like an ESP32, and you can add a GUI or anything like that to an ESP32 with your program just as easily as we're doing it here. In addition to that, like this gerbil object that we have here is made to run on an ESP32, but it is also just running here, even though it is not active because there is no hardware actually out there for it to interact with. You can go ahead and you can debug your code and make sure that everything is running properly very quickly here in the browser before you actually go ahead and load it onto your robot or ESP32 or whatever it is that you have out there for your particular hardware. So that moved pretty quickly over some of what we have here to construct a robot or to create a GUI that will run something. I'm just remembering here also that if you want to go ahead, let's go ahead and close this console here. We went into the Files tab and hit List Directory, and you can see here that we actually have the entire program that's running on here. So anything that you wanted to look at, you can go ahead and you can look at Iris, and you can see, you know, what is this object made of. And basically, her job here is to, again, hold on to all of the parameters and is going to be the object that is going to get messages from the various buses that may be connected to your device and pass them to particular parameters and or from parameters back to specific buses based on how you have your program constructed. So let's go ahead and look at some more of what we have here. We also have a bunch of we have another kind of complex object here, which is going to be this 3D viewer object. So let's go ahead and drop one of these on here. We'll go ahead and save it. And let's go ahead back here again, and we will refresh our page. Since we have an object here that is going to want a 3D viewer, the 3D viewer has automatically come up here, and we can use that to view some different codes. So let's go ahead and look at a program that has some codes in there already. I believe that I have a tab open here with that already. I do not. Let's go ahead and open this Inkscape to Scala program. And this one basically is going to, you can see some of our other videos, but this one is basically going to take a G-code file that is exported from Inkscape and convert it into code that is going to be run on Tobor, our robot, which is a Scala class robot arm, and it's going to take that code and export it in such a way that can be run on the device. So again, let's take a look at this real quick. Let's go ahead and run this. So we have spun up this program. Again, we are running this in PyScript. So and this just goes to show as well, you know, how fast you can start developing here and move into this with relative ease. So again, what we have here, let's go ahead and take a look at a bit of this code here. So we have this Inkscape parameter here, and inside here we are going to be taking in a G-code file. And let's go ahead and load up a little G-code file here so that we can take a look at it. So let's go ahead and we'll put this in here. And you can see, if you are familiar with G-code, that this is just standard G-code, and there really is nothing special about this. Let's go ahead and we are going to hit the submit button so that we actually pass our changes that we put into here to the other into the Python side of the program and actually have it execute. And when it did, you can see here that we have toolpaths that have shown up on our 3D viewer. Let's go ahead again and view some of this code here. And again, you know, much of this is intended to be fairly simple, and each one of these parameters doesn't actually have to you know, do a whole lot to add quite a bit of value to what you're doing here. So basically, you know, let's go ahead and look at the call method here. And actually, why don't we open up the... Why don't we go ahead and open up the program itself. or I'm sorry, the code itself, and take a look at how this is constructed as a whole. Again, you can see that we have various different ports, and some of these ports are going to be, what happens when the tool is supposed to turn on or the tool is supposed to turn off. And this could be different depending on what it is that you're doing. Are you having something with a pen that's going to just go around like we have with our object here, where we're actually going to be, just turning a servo to one direction or another? Or are we actually moving some Z stage up or down? Or are we going to be decorating a cake and we're going to be, extruding some frosting or not? Or, a welder or a plasma cutter or any of these things, we can go ahead and we can go ahead and change our tool on and off methods that we're going to be calling here, depending on what it is that we're actually doing. So again, let's look down here. You can see that there is no GUI portion of this object. There isn't anything to show up with this particular program here. So again, we're just going to be taking in a string or a file, and we're going to be going through line by line. We are going to pull it out, and effectively here, let's go ahead and open this program again. Do we have it running here? So you can see here that we have this ink sender, and we're going to take that in. We are going to be passing it through this Inkscape element. From the Inkscape parameter, we are going to come out, and that is going to be our original. So let's go ahead and look at this here, and you can see that this is our original here. Let's change the color on this so that we can kind of get an idea of what is happening under the hood here. So we have the G code that we sent into Ink Sender. It is going to come to the Inkscape parameter, out of the Inkscape parameter, and we are going to just dump this into this another 3D viewer here called Original so that we may see what's going on. I changed this color to yellow here. Let's go ahead and submit this again so we can kind of take a look at what has happened. And you can see here that now our code is yellow for this original. Continuing on with our code here, you can see that we are basically passing through this viewer here into this translator. You can see that in this CNC translator, we have a few offsets that are GUI float elements. So let's go ahead and change some of these. Let's go ahead and move it a little bit in X and move it a little bit in Y. And let's go ahead and pick another color here. Let's pick like a nice pink color. We're going to go ahead and we are going to submit everything again. Let's go ahead and take a look, and you can see again, we have sent in our original. We have turned it into a list of orders, which is our yellow. We have moved it around, which is our pink. So again, let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit. Inkscape original, we have translated it. We are now in translated, which is our pink. Let's go ahead and kind of scoop these up a little bit here. And you can see here that, in translated is pink, which is, in this particular instance, where the robot is actually going to draw it in real space. And then continuing on here, we have our kinematics translator. Our kinematics translator is going to convert this into angles of the joints for Tobor or any other robot to use. So let's go ahead and look at this. So that is going to be translated. It's going to be transformed then, rather, by the kinematics transformer. Let's go ahead and take a look at this code here real quick as well. You can see basically here that we basically just have a bunch of inverse kinematics transforms, and we are basically taking any kind of straight line, we are chopping it up into little bits, and we're taking those little bits and we are doing our inverse kinematics transforms on our new little line segments. So again, that one is still green here, and we can see here up at the top that this is going to be the code that comes out and is actually run by the robot. And I always thought that it was actually really neat here to see that you can actually still kind of tell what is going on here, and even though that this is actually not XY space, this is going to be the joints and the angles of the joints of the robot. It's just interesting that you can still see this. And also, if we were to change this so that it is left-handed, so let's go ahead down here and we can change this so that it is now left-handed. Let's go ahead and hit the submit so that we can run everything else again. And you can see here that now, the angle of phi now has turned from positive, which is going to be right-handed, to negative, which is going to be a left-handed operation. And you can see also that this has turned the text around backwards because now everything is left-handed. So again, we have created some interactive GUIs. We have well, I guess this is another GUI as well, but here we are actually taking in some data and we are doing some manipulations on it and passing it back out. Another one of these manipulations is going to be to run a, let's go ahead and drop one of those in there. Actually, I don't want to. Let's go back to our original canvas here, and we will drop on another one of these tools here, which is going to be our KiCad compiler. And this particular one here is going to be taking a CSV file that is exported from a type of CAD software that is used for creating circuit boards. And in there, we are going to be taking each component and pulling it out and going ahead and picking up a component from somewhere and placing it down somewhere else. And we are still finalizing on the API here. We're hoping to come up with a construct to where you can effectively open up a CSV file with the robot and press run on that file, and kind of all of these transforms and translations are happening under the hood, and from you as the user's perspective, a lot of this is kind of just like wiped away, but this is where we're at the moment. So I think I'm going to stop this video at the moment, and we will be coming out with a lot more videos and some written tutorials and more documentation on this. But I just kind of want to put this out there so that I can get some feedback from everybody. What do they think of everything? Where are some areas that you can see for improvement? Are there some other things out there that you've seen that try to accomplish similar tasks, and you like some of the ways that they have constructed what they do? Is there something that we should be doing that you would like to see? So again, thank you so much for your time, and we hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.